Hi, my name is Danny Jackson. The film you're about to watch is a compilation of the Transgender Pageant 2020 submissions. I hope you enjoy. And at the end of this video, you'll see some shortened links on screen that you can type into your internet browser, and you can donate to transgender individuals in need. We will also have a link for the LGBT Center's website so that you can go there to learn more about the community and see what you can do to contribute to the community as a whole. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Hi, my name is Kamora Jones. I'm a professional graphic artist and illustrator. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. To me, transitioning is all about becoming. It has absolutely nothing to do with, arriving at a specific situation or at a specific destination. It's this idea of authenticating, um, perpetually becoming who you see yourself as inside. In society, so many people are in the process of trying to become their favorite actor or the person that they idolize. But authenticity is gold because it helps the person strive for what they actually care about and who they actually want to be and how they see themselves holistically. I think if we could learn to see ourselves as canvases that are evolving into beautiful paintings, I believe the world would be a much more authentic and honorable and honest place. So my hope is that all would see themselves as transitioning, regardless of whether they are persisting within the LGBTQIA plus community or just a human being growing and evolving and changing as we all do. While safety, housing, and food are definitely the most important needs, I believe that education and economic assistance and employment are the most important needs. I say education because I think young people focusing in on getting their high school diplomas, getting their college degrees, and training in their areas of expertise can help them to become more self-sufficient and much more strategic in society. When a person can pay for their own clothes, can pay for their own space, can pay for their own food, can choose who they want to live with, or to not live with anyone at all, I think it creates a much better and healthier environment where you can literally grow and evolve on your own terms. So I believe that we should be encouraging each other to become professionals in our fields of study, that we should invest in that holistically. I think there should be programs that support young people in their endeavors to become professionals in their fields. But regardless of how young or old we consider ourselves to be, we should be encouraging each other to become extremely self-sufficient by being able to take care of ourselves and to have money individually and collectively to pay for our own ways of life and to live in environments that support us and that help us to be safe and self-sustaining and self-sufficient. I'm currently in the process of mentoring a young trans woman in her desire to become a graphic artist and animator professionally. I also created a series called the Transmigration Series on Instagram. I currently have over 60,000 followers. It's a metaphysical series where I share my art and writings and ideas about metaphysics and about existence and chakras and energy. And I'm creating t-shirts and oracle cards and comics and all sorts of things that basically provide affirmational support for those who are interested in evolving themselves. I also, during the day, work for a company called Scientific Games. I've been with the company for 14 years. I actually started transitioning while at the company. So I'm very visible. Everyone's aware of who I am. I'm out, and hopefully I've demystified some things about Black trans women and their capabilities. And hopefully other trans folk can come and work for scientific games or other creative corporations. There are corporations that are very accepting of anyone who's skilled to work in their environment. I was also honored to be a part of a Women in Technology campaign that Scientific Games designed, mainly for STEM. And me as a principal graphic designer with the company, I was photographed alongside many other women. And I don't know if the ads are out, but I will basically be in a national ad for this international gaming corporation, which is really, really cool. As far as the center is concerned, I was the co-moderator for gender translation for a number of years. I really enjoyed that because I was able to give space to those who otherwise maybe wouldn't have a place to speak in. It was a great space for us to discuss our journey and our paths. I also designed a few logos for a couple of the transgender programming at the center. Last year, I designed the center's float for Pride. It turned out pretty good for the resources we had, but I was very happy to have designed it. And I think the last thing I could note is that I was also the keynote speaker for Trans Day of Remembrance in 2019. Thank you so much.
What is a human being? A being who plays in the sea of consciousness. One in the sea of many. An infinite mixture of thoughts and ideas. The divine spark in a biological shell. The energy flowing through the energy system. And the wanderer in the desert of possibilities. But the path can become lonely, and you may become alienated, wanting to go back from where you came, with other souls who abide in love and light, without prejudice and malicious intent, wandering through the wormholes of reality frames, seeking the answers of the cosmos, and co-creating with kindred spirits, while communicating clearly and effectively at the speed of thought. But you wake from the daydream, forced to realize that you are still you. You. Yes, you. The universal integration of male and female energies. You are the future of the human experience. So if you don't fit into the current world, you will. If you could just remember who you are before any of the pressures and troubles of this world, you would see a being who is one with everything. An integral part of the infinite interactive dance of love. And light. Of all the existential doors and portals you could have visited, you had a conversation with the universe and came here to be you. Praise you for being you.
I'm Stephanie Lynn, better known as Diamond Onassis. You caught me in the middle of getting dressed for the gig. But I wanted to talk to you for a moment and just let you know what the word transition means to me. To me, it equalizes the word change. Because it's a transition, it's a change from one thing to another. It's like evolving to a higher level, as to speak. Think about the butterfly. I like to use the example of the butterfly to explain it, how it transitions from a caterpillar, and then it goes through a moment where it cocoons and becomes one with itself, and it elevates to a higher level and changes into the majestic butterfly. And to me, that is what transition means. It's just simply a change. And in our community today, that is such an important thing with trans awareness, is to just be simply aware of the definition of what transition means. Simply a change from one thing to another, going from one level to a higher level or being. So, what do I think is pressing needs in the trans community? Well, let me just say this. Stop killing us, for starters. That's a very pressing need. But a good way to make that happen is if we, as trans people, were seen as equals. If the trans community was normalized, if there wasn't a need actually for separation, or because in those situations, if there was ever a problem, if we are approached and treated as an equal human like everyone else, most problems could be diffused and handled more appropriately than they have been in other situations. So that's a very pressing need, I think, in our community, is to be treated as just normal human beings. And the way that I want to be a part of that is that I want to continue doing what I've been doing, and that is being visible in the normal, I hate to use the word normal, but for lack of better words, just in the community, in the general population. You see me there, I am visible. You see me loud and proud, Black and trans, living my life normally in society, just like everyone else, day to day. And that's how I continue to be a part of the solution, is by being present and being visible. So, I was thinking, if selected to be Miss Las Vegas Trans Pride 2020, I would have to give back to the community. But I'm already prepared to do that because I've been giving back to the Las Vegas community since 2016. Upon my arrival, I started a youth drag show that I produced at the center because I really do believe in the youth, because they are our future. Without them, where will we be? And I definitely don't want them to go through the same struggles that I went through and those before me had to go through. Also, I work with different organizations throughout the years since then, privately and publicly. And currently, I'm working with UNLV Law with their National Lawyers Guild for their Sex Workers Awareness Program, and specifically with the Trans Awareness and Education portion. So I definitely look for different ways to give back to my community here in Las Vegas, and I'm looking forward to different opportunities that can arise in the future for me to give my all to. So guys, I do have to get ready. Like I said at the beginning of this video, my name is also Diamond Onassis, and I gotta get ready for that gig. So,
I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to love. I've my sister. I can feel her now. She may not be here, but she's still mine, I know. She still loves me. I got my children. I can't hold them now. They may not be here, but they still mine, and I hope they know I still love them. Got my house, it still keeps the cold out. Got my chair when my body can't hold out. Got my hands doing good like they're supposed to. Showing my heart to the folks that I'm close to. Got my eyes, though they don't see as far now. They see more about how things really are now. But I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna hold my head up. I'm gonna put my shoulders back and look you straight in the eye. I'm gonna flirt with somebody when they walk by. I'm gonna sing out, sing out. I believe I have inside of me everything that I need to live a bountiful life with all the love alive in me. I'll stand as tall as the tallest tree, and I'm thankful for each day that I'm given, both the easy and hard ones I'm living. But most of all, I'm thankful for loving who I really am. I'm beautiful. Yes, I'm beautiful. And I'm
Hi, my name is Selena, and I'm transgender. I'm a trans woman, and I guess being trans, really the most important part to me is it just means being myself, having the freedom to explore and discover who that person is. I feel a lot of people don't take the time to really get to know themselves, and I know for trans people it can be very difficult. You spend a lot of time in your life perfecting this person that you're supposed to be. You're told you are this and you need to be that. And it can be very, very difficult and very, very stressful because it's not who I am. My entire life, growing up in a Latin family and growing up in a very religious family as being the firstborn son, there are certain things that are looked at. And even though people don't always talk about it, but there's pressure and you feel it. And it's really difficult to fill in that role and expectations when you're not that person. I'm just not. I never have been. I never will be. But when I came out, it allowed me the freedom to explore and discover who I am. And there were many, many things about me that I did not know. And now that I do know, it makes it easier to be able to share those parts of my life with others. And the more that people get to know who I am, the more confidence I get, the more friends I have, the more comfortable I feel like I belong in the world. And it's very liberating. Most people don't take the time to explore themselves. Whether you're cisgendered or a trans person or non-conforming or wherever you fit in the spectrum of life, to really know yourself is very difficult and very scary. It's hard to face things. It's hard to look in the mirror and realize that, like, oh my God, am I really like that? Did I just do that? Did I just say that? Did I burn that bridge? It can be unnerving, but there is a certain sense of liberty and freedom that comes with it, because being who I am gives me the strength to move forward and deal with life. And if I'm strong here, then I can handle anything else that comes at me or is thrown at me. It's not as bad as it used to be. Being scared of being discovered because I don't pass. Being visibly trans, it's not a burden, it's not a curse. And feeling like I can fool people is not really designed for us as trans people. It's really designed to make other people feel like it's okay. They're not being like encroached upon. They're not being attacked. They're not being fooled. They're not being lied to. And in reality, they're not getting to know us, and they're missing out. Alright, so as far as our community and what I feel we need the most, and it's most important right now, I believe it comes down to jobs, training, and opportunity. It is wonderful that there's so many people out there that are willing to help, whether they donate blankets, their time, food, shelter. These things are all great. But nothing feels better than the opportunity to earn those things for yourself. I know that many people think that, like, oh, I did my part to help because I donated X amount of dollars or my time to do this. But I feel that in order to make things better, I feel people should be able to open the doors so that we can take care of ourselves. I'm fortunate enough to have a job and be able to work, and so I can pay my bills, and I can tell you I wouldn't change it for anything. Even if somebody offered to take care of me and pay all of my bills, it's not as satisfying as being able to earn it for yourself. To know that, like, I went out there and I was the one that earned that money, and I bought myself a car, or I pay my rent every single month, rather than having to, like, always be thankful. And I am thankful for many things, but there's a difference between somebody helping me from time to time and depending on others. And that feeling of, like, wondering, is somebody going to be out there to take care of me? Is someone going to give me the money or the food that I need to survive one more day? And the stress and the embarrassment of that is absolutely terrible, absolutely. It's always great to get help from time to time, because sometimes we need help. But I would rather somebody give me the opportunity to work, take the time to train me and teach me, open up that opportunity to grow, and maybe take a promotion, to move up, move forward, to grow, to be able to be in charge, make more decisions, to be able to help the next person that comes behind me and be like, hey, look, I'm going to teach you some things. Why don't you come over here? Let me show you this. And then give them a chance to work and earn and grow. Raises, promotions, these are not things, jobs, being able to work and stuff like that. These are not things that are cisgendered or transgendered or anywhere that you fit on the spectrum. Everybody wants to have the opportunity, and sometimes we do fail. I'm not gonna lie. There have been jobs I've quit or left, and it just, not everything is for you. But when you find your niche, it's really nice to be able to grow and learn and move forward. I feel the ability to, like, work and own our own things that is pivotal. That is what we need. We need to be able to find the work so we can grow and take care of ourselves. And when we have that self-reliance, I feel the world is going to change even more, and people will see what a trans person has to offer. Sharing and giving back to the community is really important, because I know a lot of times people have been there for me, whether it be a shoulder to cry on or to give me advice and things like that. I feel that that's, like, really important. I try to make sure that I give people the same courtesy and the same help that people have shown me. And whenever I can, I always help as much as I can. Whether it be somebody needs something to eat, or like a ride to get somewhere because they have an interview, or maybe they're trying to get to work, or something like that, or help filling out some kind of like paperwork. I always like to do my part to give back. I've had occasion, some friends that have been in tough spots, in our community, and like maybe they just need a couch to crash on for a night, or like maybe they're not feeling safe at home, or there's a problem, you can come stay with me for the weekend, we'll figure it out later. I feel like that's really important. If we can't support each other and be there in the times of need, no one else is there for us. And if we can't come together, then I feel like everything is lost. Things are more than words. Actions matter. Words are important too, but don't tell me you're my friend and you're going to be there for me, and then when I need help, I can't find you. And sometimes, in order to help people, you have to give up something. And sometimes we don't want to give up our time or our money, but I feel like it's important. Not everything is just write a check and give a donation. Sometimes it requires me to be able to go past that and maybe drop up some food for a friend because they haven't eaten in a while, or maybe open my door and allow them to come stay with me because they have nowhere else to stay. Maybe they want to come over and just do some laundry because maybe they don't have anywhere to wash their own clothes. Whatever it is they need to do, it's always good to open up and help. I'm always here to do the best that I can for myself, and then when I get an opportunity, I like to share that with others. I've been trying recently to do more, especially with my ability with food and cooking, and try to pass those skills on to the next person. It's not a talent, they definitely are skills. Anybody can learn it if you want to, and you can practice, and you can take those things and put those on your resume, take those into the next kitchen, and actually earn a paycheck with it. It may not be a glamorous life, and it may not be like a wealthy life, but I am able to support myself, and I feel that others should be able to do the same thing. And I try really hard to share those things with others, and hopefully they can grow and learn, and I hope I'm able to help them. Just do the best I can. I never promise to be amazing, and I never promise that I know anything at all, because I crash and burn and make mistakes, and I forget stuff just as much as anybody else. But I believe that what is really important is the effort. You put in the effort, you put in the time, and you give people a piece of your heart, and I feel like it will make people's lives better. Probably the one thing that I'm known for, and probably the thing that I'm best at, is my cooking. I am not a master chef or classically trained. I just have a passion for food. I love things to look both as beautiful as they taste and taste as beautiful as they look, because those two don't always go together. And it doesn't matter how simple the recipe is. Food should be easily accessible for everyone, whether it be your local farmer's market, or if it's just the grocery store, or that emergency ingredient you go and pick up at 7-Eleven at 3 o'clock in the morning because everything else is closed. No matter how you look at it, you're going to put it into your mouth, and it's going to be the most delicious thing you've ever eaten in your entire life. Food should be exciting. People should look forward to their meals, look forward to going into the kitchen and seeing what's going to happen next. Not everything is a written down recipe, and not everything is precise. I believe that people's love and their passion, as well as their anger and their frustrations, can really be tasted in the food that they cook and they present. So for me, it's very personal. When anybody sits down to eat something that I've made, it's literally an extension of myself, my personality, and how I feel. And there's no greater gift that you can share with somebody. There's no greater part of you than to share a meal and sit down and have that experience. It opens the doorway for friendships. It opens the gate that allows people to create peace between, like, fighting parties and stuff like that. Breaking bread and sharing food is a pivotal thing in not just our community, but in the world. And I love being a part of that. I love offering, whether it be something as simple as a soup or a salad. It doesn't matter. A piece of you is in there, your expression, your art, your passion. And when you can share your heart with people, I feel it brings people together. I don't know. I know I'm crazy, but I just have a passion for food. And hopefully along the way, I'm able to share it with others and help them find their passion so that way they can extend it and share it with the next person. And I kind of hope that maybe one day we can change the world with something as simple as a sandwich. There's a lot of power behind sandwiches. Never underestimate a sandwich. Your food should never be boring. Please promise me that when you sit down to eat, your food will never be boring.
Hello, my name is Nathan Norsworthy. I'm 23 years old. I was born and raised here in Las Vegas, Nevada. To me, transition is more than just a mental, physical, and emotional thing. It's your whole lifestyle. You have to go through the physical, you have to go through the mood swings. Some people take shots, some people take the pills, there's cream, there's a lot. But cis people wouldn't understand what we go through. So, to me, transitioning is going from elementary school to middle school. You have to transition from that, alphabetical ABCs, 1, 2, 3s to multiplication and cursive and stuff. And with transitioning, it's like, for me, I had to transition from being a quote unquote female to now a man, who I've already been. It's just I was in a female's body. But transitioning is a lot. Like, you have to reintroduce yourself to people. And again, some people might not think that you have to reintroduce yourself, but to me, I did, because I was already one person and I had to pretend to be that person. So now I am who I am, and I'm reintroducing myself as Nathan and not as, birth name. And it's a little harder than just being, yourself, as cis people can be. You have some cis people that are like, oh, you were born this, so you are that. And then there's even the LGBT community, which people are, oh, you're this, and I don't understand what you're doing, and no medicine can change you, and blah, blah, blah. But again, you can either accept me or get the hell up out of my life. Honestly, that's how I feel. Some people might not feel like that. Some people might need all the support that they can have. I honestly do not care. I have enough support in myself and my family and my loved ones, and even the ones around me that don't know me, they still support me. The most pressing need in the trans community is acceptance in one another. I feel like there's so many different people in the trans community, non-binaries, FTMs, MTFs, a lot of people, but no one accepts one another. Like, there's the FTMs that still make fun of MTFs, and there's non-binaries that make fun of other, non-binaries because they aren't as the other one is. Like, no one is the same at all. No cis person is the same, no trans person is the same. Like, I feel like in our community as a whole, the LGBTQ community, we all need to accept one another as who we are and not make fun of or downgrade the next person because of what they look like or how they are dressing or what they prefer to be called or their pronouns or any of that. Like, I feel like if we're going to be a community, we have to come together as a community and love one another in order for a cis community to love us. In order for the cis community to see us as a whole or as a human, we have to see each other as humans. No one will respect the next person if we're not respecting them either. Like, you can't expect to be accepted if you're not accepting the next person that is also in your community. Me and my community, I'm open to talk to anyone that needs help in transitioning, or that needs help in general, or that doesn't know where to get the mental support or the emotional support, the medical support, anything. Like, I have a Facebook group, like I've said, that's called Alienate Us, where anyone and everyone that feel the need to have a safe zone can come and express themselves, get positive feedback. There's no negativity, and if there is any negativity, you're kicked out, or I will give you the 3 chance rule, where you got 3 strikes and you're out, depending on how crucial your comment is. There is negative feedback available, that positive criticism, negative criticism. There is no negative criticism, but that positive feedback, where constructive criticism, that's what I was looking for, where there might be a little negative in it, but it's more for you to work on whatever you need to work on. It's not just, no, this isn't you, blah blah blah, none of that. No, it's safe. I have plenty of friends that come to me and ask, where did I find my therapist, where did I find my my doctor, all of that. Like, I have people that ask me about my transition in general. How did it happen? How am I feeling? How am I mentally? How am I, and I'm open. If you want to know, I'll tell you. I'd rather educate you than for you to walk around looking dumb, is the word I'd say, or uneducated. But again, education, regardless of the subject, you're always going to learn something new throughout the day, throughout the year, throughout the week. You're going to learn something new. So why not just teach someone, than for them to look stupid, or for you to just sit there and be like, oh, you know nothing. Teach me then. Don't just make me look dumb. Teach me. I'd rather you teach me, or I'd rather teach the next person, than for all of us to look around and walk around and look stupid. I made this, decorated this. This was actually just a normal canvas, and I made it into my mirror. Also painted him. It's actually one of my favorite ones. I also painted this. I also revamped this chair, made it my transition chair, Obviously, I'm female to male, so my pronouns are he, him, his. The transgender colors. It's my chalkboard. I can write whatever I want on the back, And my favorite, my sign, this is my signature right here.
Lucky for you, that's what I like. trips to Puerto Rico. Say the word and we go. You can be my flica. Girl, I'll be a flico, mama. I would never make a promise that I can't keep. I promise that your smile ain't gon' never leave. Shopping sprees in Paris. I've been doing 24 carats. Take a look in that mirror. Now tell me who's the fairest. Is it you? Is it you? Is it me? Is it me? Say it's us. And I'll agree. Jump in the Cadillac. Girl, let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just to put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby. You deserve it all. And I'm gonna give it to you. Gold jewelry shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on us. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Sex by the fire at night. Silk sheets and diamonds, all white. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. You say you want a good time. Well, here I am, baby. Here I am, baby. Talk to me, talk to me, say it.
Hi, my name's Morgan Blackwell. I am a trans masc individual using both he, him, and they, them pronouns. I am a drag king. I have been performing drag for about 6.5 years. My very first performance was at a Pride festival after hours, and I have been doing it ever since, and I love it. I'm also polyamorous. I have 2 wonderful partners. My wife I have been with for almost 6 years, and my partner I've been with for almost 2. I also do historical reenactment, so I do the Renaissance Festival. You can see me at the Ren Fair. I am a captain in Her Majesty's Royal Navy. I do a lot of the sword fighting and a lot of the theater, and just encouraging people to understand history. What trans means to me is being able to look inside yourself and realize I don't feel who I am that everyone else sees me. So I'm going to become this person. And it is a beautiful process, realizing that you're trans, looking at yourself and saying, what are the pronouns that I want to have people call me? What is a name? And sometimes it matches up with what you were born with, and sometimes it doesn't. And just being able to have that ability to look inside yourself and say, this is what society expects of me, but I am rejecting that, and I'm going to be true to myself. I think that's the biggest part about being trans. It's very cathartic going through this metamorphosis, because sometimes it's uncomfortable. Like, it hurts when people misgender you. And you just have to look at them in the eye and say, that's not my pronouns. That's not my name. And when people actually start using the correct terminology for you, it can lift you up higher than anything I've ever felt. I have a client who kind of goes over the top, but it's amazing. So he'll be like, hey bro, you're my man. It's great to see you, dude. And it is so positively affirming having this practically a stranger just lift me up, and he's just doing his best to be supportive. So I would like to see more people like who don't understand be informed and be educated on these problems. There are definitely some pressing needs in the community and some things that I would like to see come together. I've noticed that there is a lot of negativity and gatekeeping, even in our own community, of realizing that we're who we are on the inside. I don't think it's right that to say to someone, you're not trans enough for this thing, or I don't think you're actually trans because of A, B, and C. And I have seen some of those discriminations, and I just want the community to accept everything. For me, being trans is not identifying with the gender you were born with. Whether that is agender or being gender fluid, being non-binary, like all of those for me also incorporate being trans. And it's really sad to see that a community that we're already judged by the masses, we're judging ourselves internally. And we should be more open-minded. And I definitely want to help spread kindness. I think the best way to help people understand is through education, being polite, but also just being kind to one another. And if your being trans is different than my being trans, it doesn't make either one of us less so. And that's the biggest thing that I've seen is I just want people to respect each other and be kind. So I always try to be the kindest person I possibly can be. And I want to shed my light. And I want to encourage kindness around me. I want people to say, look at him. He is so positive. I want to be like that. So I think that would be my biggest concern that we have with the community. So I host a couple of drag king workshops, and how I've realized that this helps the community is it allows people to explore gender. And I understand like drag and being trans don't necessarily need to go hand in hand, or they're not the same thing. But for me, when I was first able to put on a fake beard, that's when I started to realize, well, maybe I'm not exactly a woman. And I've always been enthralled with the transformation of doing drag. And my biggest thing is I always start all of my classes with this one phrase: all drag is valid. And I firmly believe that. You could be hyper feminine, hyper masculine, neither, a combination of all of the above, some sort of outer space creature. If that's your vision for drag, then it's totally valid. And doing these workshops allows people to explore and realize, hey, I could wear a beard and I could wear eyeliner, or I really like how I look with eyeshadow and my shaved head, or anything like that. And just watching people come out of my workshops with a more understanding of themselves is so incredible. I've had people, first time I've met them, come out of my drag workshop and say, you know, I think I'm non-binary, and I've kind of been tossing around the idea for a while, but you gave me the courage to actually process it. And I just wish I could do more of that. So allowing people a safe space to explore, I think that's just the most amazing thing that I do, is encourage people to be them true selves. And whether you just like dressing up for a show, or if you just like, you want to dress up all the time, that's totally okay. And there's different medias of drag too, so it doesn't have to be lip singing. It could be actual singing. It could be playing an instrument. I knew a drag king who liked to juggle, and it gives you the opportunity to explore things about yourself that maybe you wouldn't in a normal society. So that's how I feel like I contribute to the trans community. I am going to be singing an old Irish song, and being part of the Ren Fair community, we are big on historical songs and theater and stuff like that, so I'm going to be singing that for you today. Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hills to your darling. You choose the road, love, and I'll make the vows. And I'll be your true love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. And my love is fairer than any. 'Twas down by Killarney's green woods that we strayed, where the moon and the stars, they were shining. The moon shone its beams on her locks of golden hair, and she swore she'd be my love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. And my love is fairer than any. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, my name is Del Rio Perkins, aka Serenity Ann, and I am very excited to be a part of this. The reason why I feel like the story of trans experience is so important is because in my personal life, I've dealt with depression, I've dealt with suicidal ideations, and I also dealt with being the target of many people's ridicule. And in that process, I learned to be stronger. I learned to be my best person, and I learned to be my best self. But I went through a lot of isolation, and I went through a lot of time periods where I felt like I was worthless and nobody understood who I was as a person. It was really hard for me to learn how to navigate being who I was and also understanding that I am uniquely made because I didn't see other people like me. And I stand here to want to be able to say that you are special in your own way, and you deserve everything that life has to offer to you, and you owe no one anything, not an explanation. The only thing you owe to this world is to be your best self, and that is for you. So this song is a tribute, not only to me and my experience, but to every other person to keep living the impossible dream and make sure that you make it a reality. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and share with you a little piece of my heaven. I hope you like it. Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. am beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Words can't bring me down. So don't you bring me down today. To all your friends, you're delirious. You're so consumed in all your doom, trying hard to feel the emptiness. The peace is gone. Left the puzzle undone. Is that the way it is? I am beautiful no matter what they say. Words can bring me down. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can bring you down. No. So don't you bring me down today. No matter what they say. Yeah, yeah. And everywhere you go, the sun will always, always shine. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can bring you down. They can't bring you down no matter what they say. Words can bring us down. So don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today.
Hi, my name is Rue, and this is my entry for the 2020 Mixed Trans Pride Showcase. Just as an introduction, I'm a member of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas, which is a liberal church organization that's based out of North Las Vegas off of Lake Mead and Pecos. This is not a Jesus-y church by any stretch of the imagination. However, this is the community where I do the heavy lifting in my advocacy as a part of the trans community. So I want to share with you a little bit of what I said for the 2020 Transgender Day of Remembrance service. It's been modified from what I actually said to the congregation, but only slightly. So here we go. So I want to tell you about a story about my congregation, and it's a short slice of my church's history with Transgender Day of Remembrance. We have been doing this memorial off and on for about 10 years, and we've been doing it regularly for the last 4 or 5, but this is more recent. So as you might imagine, it is a heavy service to prepare. It's a heavy service to offer to the congregation and to the community. It weighs on the hearts of those who read a new list of names year after year, and on those who hear them. There are some who have done so for a very long time, and there were some doing it for the very first time in 2020. When I did it last year in 2019, each name was a stone tied to my heart. And it would take me a very long time to gently untie each of those stones from my heart and lovingly release them into the welcoming arms of the universe. However, a secret that I told my congregation is that last year in September or October, there were talks of skipping this memorial. And I'm not saying this to blame anyone or to say that the congregation doesn't care. As I've said, it's a very heavy service, and those of us who serve on the Worship Associates team don't always have the emotional capacity for something so heartbreaking, and especially as a member of the trans community, sometimes that's difficult to volunteer for. So the talks about what would happen on that weekend started to shift very subtly and very slowly to other possible topics when no one volunteered to help. I was the only trans person in the room at the time, and this was unacceptable for me. We were doing this service even if I had to carry the whole thing on my own. So I advocated that we keep it in the schedule, and I talked to our former minister. She has since, her contract ended, so she went elsewhere. And I advocated for how important it is. I obviously don't have to tell you what I said because I know that you will understand, but I did need to explain it to the cis people surrounding me. It's so important that we talk about not just Trans Day of Remembrance, but especially Trans Day of Remembrance. So they did agree that we could keep it in the calendar. And I remember that meeting with the Worship Associates really stuck with me. And I was kind of concerned about bringing it up this year because I know it's been a hard year. It's been a hard year for everybody. And in my congregation, we also had a change in ministers. But the trans community has been attacked on all sides. So again, it's important. The congregation has had a number of conversations in the last year about the trans and non-binary community, both individually and as a larger group. People have asked me when to say they and when to say them. People have asked how to apologize when they've misgendered somebody and how to practice so that they're better at it. We have a practice of putting our pronouns, whether you are trans or cis, on our names on Zoom. And people have asked what the different terms mean about cis, non-binary, gender fluid, agender, trans feminine, all of our terms. They've asked so that they have this education. And it feels really good to be one of the people who can offer that education. So I made a commitment to myself that UUCLB would keep this tradition going even through the transition of a new minister. So fast forward to about 2.5 months ago, the Worship Associates were again meeting, discussing the service. This time we weren't on site at the church. Instead, we were on a Zoom call, and I had 9 little boxes in front of me. I was explaining to our new minister that it's important that we do this service, and that some of us, namely me, had already committed themselves to it. Then I said, almost flippantly, and by the way, if anyone wants to help me with this one, let me know. I wasn't looking for anything specific. It was very casual. But these 9 little boxes in front of me, and 9 hands rose. The echoes of last year's stones were still tied to my heart, but they were lifted in time with those hands. We all have to do this work. It's not just the job of the trans people who happen to be in the room at the time, and that's what I advocate to my congregation. Cis people are just as responsible. and I cannot lift a heart full of stones by myself. Someone recently asked me if kindness is enough. You can't stop imminent violence with kindness, right? And I want to prove them wrong. I want a community of mostly cis people to prove that the world can be brighter with kindness. What is love on the streets but justice? What is kindness on the shelf but an empty promise? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Danny Jackson. You met me earlier at the beginning of this video. Any pronouns are fine for me. I am two-spirit, non-binary, and being transgender to me means accepting who you really are. When I initially came out, I was 16 years old, and I came out as genderqueer. I didn't know the word non-binary then, and I did not know that my mom's side of my family was Native American. So I had no way to know about two-spirit, no way to know about non-binary. It took a lot of transitioning in order to get there. I felt the need to transition to binary male because of the force for that kind of thing. Even within the transgender community, there is a stigma and pressure to transition to either binary female or binary male. So I felt that in order to be accepted and to pass, I had to transition to this binary male journey. I went so far as to stay on testosterone for a year, and it was not for me. And if it's for you, that's great, but it wasn't for me. And by the end of the year, I'd had kind of this spiritual awakening about both myself and my spiritual identity and also my gender identity. And I landed where I am today, encapsulating all things, all genders, all within myself. I guess the gist of what I'm trying to say is your transition isn't exactly what you think it might be initially, and you are constantly transitioning, but all of it is accepting yourself for who you are. You're just peeling back the layers to find out what's really going on there. The most pressing needs for the transgender community honestly lie with addressing issues within the transgender community. The number one issue I can think of off the top of my head would be racism within the transgender community. We all know that Black transgender women are the number one targeted demographic within the transgender community, and that is when they are targeted by cis people for hate crimes. Another crime that I see and I have been told of by Black transgender women is that they are not offered enough space within the transgender community and within the LGBTQIA community as a whole. And we definitely need to fix that because, again, they are the most targeted demographic and they should have an equal, if not higher voice than the white people and white passing people who have spoken for so long. The second major issue that I feel needs to be addressed is the discrimination towards non-binary and two-spirit individuals, as well as transgender binary people who do not fit the gender representation that is expected of them. There have been multiple incidents that I have either witnessed or been a part of where I have seen binary trans people having issues with how non-binary people present themselves, or how gender non-conforming people present themselves, or binary transgender people claiming that non-binary people are trying to ruin their binary transition because we talk about wanting to destroy the binary. Well, we're not talking about destroying your binary transition. We're talking about deconstructing the binary that has been fed to you by the American government and the American media, which frees you to explore your binary transition and transition to who you are without the outside influence of the binary that was forced upon you. We're giving you the opportunity to kind of re-skew your view, essentially. And I think for a third issue, we need to be more understanding of parents when it comes to transgender children coming out. I see a lot of people talking about how it's not okay for a transgender parent to mourn the loss of their child previously that they thought was cis. And that's true. You know, the parents shouldn't mourn. They should celebrate that they have a new, happier, less depressed, hopefully, child. But I think we should be understanding of the fact that, again, these are generations of people who are brought up with that binary, who are brought up with all of those things that us non-binary people are trying to deconstruct. And they do feel a sort of loss, but the loss that they're feeling is the loss of this preconceived notion they had. They're realizing the world isn't what they thought it was. And I think when we're educating cisgender parents, we should bring that into the education instead of just telling them, hey, this isn't okay, you shouldn't be upset or sad or frustrated or confused about it. We should instead be sitting them down and saying, hey, this is why you're upset, sad, frustrated, and confused. Here's how you can relearn things in your head, and here's how you can phrase and talk about these things without putting the burden on your transgender child and making them feel like they have done something wrong. So, some of my contributions to the LGBT community. Aside from editing together this whole little film for you guys, I am a photographer and filmmaker. I have done photography at events at the center. I have been published in the Las Vegas Spectrum magazine. I would have been very happy to show you guys my portfolio of work. However, in August of this year, my abusive father nuked my life and took all of my possessions from our apartment and destroyed my hard drives. So I don't have anything other than something I've written, which I'll get to in a little bit. But outside of art, I have ran a Discord server that the LGBT Center used to host groups in. It was a support server, a socialization server for transgender folks. Now it's just open to everyone and not just people looking to be involved with center-related things. In the online transgender communities, I have been on various social media platforms for years, doing my best to educate people and spread the word on things. Should I get my own health in check, I hope to become a healthcare professional, either a nurse or therapist, which we most certainly need more transgender people in the medical field. And on that note, before COVID became a thing and before my own epilepsy nerfed my ability to leave the house, I was trying to run a disability support group at the LGBT Center. It was a support group for disabled LGBT folks. We definitely need more spaces for disabled people in the LGBT community as a whole. But life got in the way, and then COVID got in the way. So right now I'm just working on a plan to make it online only. For a video of my talent, again, I can't show you guys anything out of my portfolio because I don't have anything. I am recording this on my roommate's phone. I no longer have a computer. I no longer have a camera. I have no ability to create any visual content. But something I can do is something I've been doing ever since I was a kid, something I've always had a passion for, is to share you a piece of writing. Now, I don't know whether to call this a poem. I don't know whether to call this spoken word. I don't know what to call this. It's just something I wrote. And it is inspired by the near-death experiences I have had over the course of my life. I've had several because, again, I am a disabled individual, and we dance the dance with death a lot more than the everyday individual. So I'm going to read this to you now. It's a piece titled Reaper Man, which is also a reference to the book Reaper Man by Terry Pratchett. I highly recommend it. Once upon these times, I feared the reaper, woke up in cold sweats. I'm a light sleeper. The end of all things meant the end of my days. The fact I can't control my death set me off in all sorts of ways. So I met him when I died. I was killed when I was young, when I was a teen, when I was trying to be a queen. Each time too early, so he sent me back, set me right. The more I met the Reaper, the more I learned to fight. Once upon a time, somewhere in space, me and the Reaper Man are sitting face to face. One day, my vessel will hold me no more. But now, as we finish our game, he sends me back to the shore. Death is temporary. I am living proof. But don't fear the Reaper. He is just the final exactment of truth. I hope you enjoy and have an excellent evening.